Good evening, I'm Norman Defoe. This is News Magazine. By now, the whole world knows the tragedy of thalidomide.
In 1957, they developed a sedative, a hypnotic as the doctors call it, that was the answer to a prayer. Its generic name was thalidomide, a sleeping pill that was safe to have around the house. It had a fantastic sale, and it was cheap, about 1.50 cents a tablet. Easy to take, small and thin, it could be taken without water.
In Germany, where the pill sold at a rate of 15 million a month, 5,000 children have been born deformed.
It affects everything. It affects your whole life, every day, every waking moment. If I go out, people stare. If I'm at home, I know I'm thalidomide because my body aches all the time. But I was always trying to keep up with everybody else and always failing at it. So it was always disappointing.
The doctor said, we have a problem with your son. He's got issues and he's got a murmur and breathing not too good, and he has severely deformed ears. What would you like to do with him? And Mum pretty much said, well, you can bring him to me, thank you.
Thalidomide is the pharmaceutical equivalent of a car crash. It can cause any number of injuries from head to toe, internal, external, left side, right side, both sides. I know of parents and children who over 50 years have never been able to confront discussing it as a family.
From 1957 to 1962, the popular drug thalidomide was recommended to thousands of pregnant women worldwide as a relief from morning sickness. Tragically, the wonder drug caused physical defects and deformities in the most vulnerable people on the planet, the unborn. Over 14,000 deformed children were born worldwide in less than 5 years, and only half of them survived infancy. This is their story.
I don't remember much about growing up because it was probably, they say if you don't remember something, it probably was traumatic. So probably was traumatic.
My biggest frustration was the teasing, constant teasing at school and name calling, and
not just the students, the teachers as well.
At the end of kindergarten, the school principal staying, telling all the other kids what class they're going into, and Fletcher, you'll be staying in kindergarten where you belong. And they are exact words.
Most of my childhood and up until the time I was about mid-20s, probably 30, I lived in anger. And somewhere I knew that I wasn't that person, so which would make it even worse. On the one hand, you're really angry, and on the other hand, you're suffering because you know that you've got better inside you. But you're caught in this world. So
I got through that period where I was taking a lot of time off school because I was much happier to be at home with Mum, looking after her and moving the furniture around or cleaning the house than be copping a constant hounding at school.
I had all this pent-up rage and frustration that had nowhere to vent except against other people. So people thought my family thought that I was not a very nice person. Like I remember on my 21st birthday card, my brother wrote to me, "We love you, but we don't like you very much." It's just not really a nice thing to say, very hurtful.
My biggest regret is I'd find the weakest duckling and I'd go and pick on them. That's, I was going through it, so why shouldn't someone else?
Because you want to make other people suffer as much as you're suffering. So you go out of your way to hurt people.
I think it's the norm, when you go through so much, even though you were the lucky one, you only had no ears. You question your self-worth no matter what you got. I had 3 beautiful children, I had a wife, I had a home, but I was ready to check out.
Always felt less worthy, and anything that I did that was good, I always felt it was only people only gave me praise because I was thalidomide, because I was different, and not because of what I actually did.
The hardest part for me was seeing me get picked on. That was the hard part. So, and as a little brother, you know, I felt very protective, yeah, sort of a lot of ways. I suppose I felt like the roles were reversed, in as far as he was my older brother, but, you know, in a lot of ways I suppose I took on the older brother role.
Always had my back. Still does, I think. Sometimes I think he thinks he's the older brother and I'm the younger brother.
Yet it was not just the babies that would suffer as a result of thalidomide.
My mum suffered from depression from day one, from the day that I was born.
She still feels guilt to this day. You know, I don't think it's something that you can get rid of. I wish that she could. I know every time I have an operation, she suffers just as much as I do, because it brings up everything all over again. The fact that she took the tablet, and if she didn't take the tablet, I wouldn't be in this situation and things would be vastly different.
We're the survivors and our parents are the victims. Our mothers are the victims of thalidomide. I think once you accept who you are and fall in love with who you are, the rest of the world doesn't matter, because the most important in your life becomes yourself.
I'm not saying that things don't go wrong and I'm not upset, but you know, I have a concrete sense of self now that I never used to have, and I can say, you know, I have short arms and feel proud of the fact instead of cringing. It's no way to live in constant suffering and anger.
This is me. Take me through who I am or move on.
The propaganda which was spread by distillers that they took effective steps to remove thalidomide from the community simply isn't true. The number of cases, in particular for mothers in rural and regional Australia, who took the drug months or even years after the withdrawal.
It was banned in other countries a while before it was banned in Australia. So, you know, I may not have had to be born thalidomide.
It was the wonder drug. It was sold as the wonder drug because it could do so many things. So many things.